I've always had this thing, I do a little bit of coaching now, and I'm always interested in nature and nurture, whether somebody's born with talent or whether it's brought into them. And when you see people like Danny McGuire, you think he must be born into him, because he's that good at that many sports. It's just unreal.
Wears his heart on his sleeve. Leeds means so much to him, and it shows in every game. He puts his heart and soul into it. But you know, one of the greats in the of Leeds. You know, you'll always look back and in 20 years' time and hear the name Danny McGuire.
Very determined, knows what he wants, but he's not selfish in any way. He's prepared to put the team first, and I think that's been a key part of our success over the last 10-12 years.
No matter how dire the situation seems or how much it feels like we're on the back foot, I just need to keep making the tackles and taking the hit-ups, because something will come, something will happen in a game where Danny McGuire does something magic that only Danny McGuire can do.
When he first came through, his game was about support play and using that natural instinct, whereas now he's much more of an organiser and has got a bigger understanding of the game, and there's a lot more, he's developed a lot more, and he's grown as a leader within the team as well. You know, if something's wrong, he's not frightened to say it, and that's important, I think, in any winning team.
So this is it?
This is it. Where it all happens.
So how many horses are here?
I think there's probably about 80 all in total. So it's quite a small operation compared to some of the horse race trainers in England, but it's a nice yard. It's where my horses kept, so let's have a look round.
Excellent, let's go for it. So what's the horse's name?
Missile.
Missile, very fast then.
Well, that's the plan. It's not got to plan as yet, but there's still plenty of time. She only had 4 races.
Right.
She's finished second, third, and the last 2 races have been a bit disappointing, but I'm sure she's got a win in her.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Well, how often do they get raced?
It all depends really. All depends, I think. I mean, I'm not a trainer, but I think like last year she had 3 races as a 2-year-old, but they said she needed to develop a bit. I suppose it's like our young 17-year-olds need a bit of time to develop and find the feet, and I think it's the same with horses really. So hopefully she'll have 5 or 6 runs this year, and hopefully might get a couple of wins as well. Would
you win a lot then?
Well, I suppose I think the races that she's going to be involved in, I don't think I'm ever going to be a millionaire, but you know, the syndicate that I'm involved in, Midland Park Racing, you know, fantastic syndicate. You can get involved, and you know, obviously it costs quite a lot to own a horse, so you can get shares out of it. And I've got a small one on this one, but hopefully win a bit of money when she comes in on have a little gamble on her.
Oh, I think she likes Jack, our cameraman, really. So, important question: how did you end up owning a racehorse?
I've always been interested in it. I think it's something that family really. My granddad and my dad were always interested in the gambling side of horse racing, and a pal of mine, my agent Craig, had a few horses, and you know, I used to go watch his horses, and then a chance came up to get involved with Midland Park Racing and sort of be a bit of an ambassador for him. So I jumped at the chance, obviously loving it, and you know, you get all the privileges of being an horse, you know, an owner, and you know, I've only got a small share in it, but you still feel like you've got something to look forward to when you go to the races and watch it. So you know, I enjoy it.
Is that part of the competitive side of you as a rugby player?
I think I've always been interested in all sports really, and you know, cricket, football, and horse racing is just another passion really. And I think, you know, most rugby players, you know, enjoy other sports, and you know, this is one that I enjoy getting involved in, and like I say, come up to the stables on a weekend and have a little mooch about, and you know, see the horses. It's pretty enjoyable.
Isn't this how you switch off, coming here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to switch off from rugby really. I think it's, you know, when it's your full-time job, it's, you know, you live it 24/7, so like I said before, sometimes it's just nice to get away from it a little bit and come up here, and you know, and like obviously you can relax and come and see the horses, a few nice pubs around here, some nice food and that, and yeah, it's something I do like to do to get away from it a little bit.
I've been talking to some of your teammates as well, asking them questions about you, and they all say that what not annoys them about you, what they find really impressive is whatever you put your hand to, you excel at. Right. So what would you have been, would you say, if you weren't a rugby league player?
It's a tough one. But I've loved sport as a kid. I played as much sport as I could do, and that'd be probably somewhere. That's probably the only thing that I'd be any good at, really, to be honest with you. So I loved cricket when I was younger, and if I wouldn't have been a rugby league player, I reckon I would have tried to push for being a cricketer. And but again, I signed for Leeds when I was 13, so I always had it in my head that I was going to be a professional rugby league player. So I never sort of looked at anything else, really. I sort of focused all my attention on that, and touch wood, I were able to come through it and make it as a player. So God knows what I'd have done if not.
Crikey. That's a young age though to be signed, 13. I mean, obviously you can't play professionally until what age were you when you played professionally?
Yeah, it was weird when it all came about, really. I was just playing amateur rugby league from my club, East Leeds, and got a phone call to go up to Leeds, and within like 2 or 3 months I'd signed a 6-year contract taking me up till I was 19, which was, I'd not really heard of kids at that age signing, but obviously being a Leeds lad, it were a dream come true, really. And I was fortunate enough to be able to make it into the academy and then into the first team, and I've not looked back since then, really. And I've enjoyed every second of being part of the club at Leeds.
In terms of when you look back over, I mean, it's been over 10 years, hasn't it? How do you feel you've changed as a person?
Person-wise, I don't think I've changed much, really. I think I've always been quite modest and just pretty down-to-earth guy, to be honest with you. And I do try and do my best for the team. I think that's always been the big thing about, especially Leeds as a club, is that there's no one player that's bigger than the team. We all muck in together and try and do our bit for the team. And I've just tried to be part. And obviously we've been pretty successful as well. So that always helps for team spirit and team morale when you're part of a successful team, and everybody just does their own little bit. And I think that's been one of our strengths throughout the 10-12 years that I've been playing.
As a player, how would you say you've changed?
A lot, to be fair. I think when I first started, if I'm honest, I was a bit selfish. It was all about me a little bit.
Glory.
Yeah,
Glory
I
hunting.
think when you're young and I think the tries and you want to be the star of the show, and when I first sort of burst onto the scene, it were a bit like that. And I realised that I had to be part of the team, and I had to do things for the team that were going to maybe not benefit me as much, but work for the team a little bit harder. And it probably took me a year or so to work that out, but I think when Tony Smith came in, he instilled that into the team, and I think we're still carrying a lot of that. What Tony Smith instilled in us, we're still carrying that forward to this day, really.
Do you feel on form for the World Cup this year?
Yeah, I think season's gone okay so far. I feel confident. I started the season pretty well and had a couple of quiet games in the middle, but I think my form's pretty good, and there's a lot of competition for places in my position. There's probably 6 or 7 players competing for 2 spots, which don't fit. So there's going to be some disappointed people, but I just keep playing as well as I can. I think that's all you can do. And obviously there's the Exiles game in the middle of the season. So if you get an opportunity in that, you get the first chance to stake your claim for the games at the end of the year. So just keep my head down and keep playing well, and see where that gets me.
And the future for you? What does the future hold? But you hate that question.
Good question, yeah. It's a tough one. I think you get it rammed down your throat a little bit. You've got to start planning for the future. And
players play a lot longer nowadays, though, with sports science.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at Steve Menzies now. He's knocking it out. He's nearly 40, playing at Catalan and still playing as well as ever. So, if I can get to 35, 36, I'll be happy. So hopefully I've got another 5 or 6 years in me, and then I'd love to stay involved in game. I think when you've been involved in rugby league from 13 and not much else, it's pretty tough to leave the sport. So I'd like to keep involved. I quite fancy the business side of the game. Working with sponsors and promoting the game, and getting more people interested in it. So maybe dabble in coaching. I'm not so sure about that yet, but sort of keep my options open and see where it takes me.
You never know. Your horse air missile.
Well,
might win a
there's
few
possibility.
races. You might not need to work.
Might make me some millions, but I'm not sure about that. I think I'm just in the horse racing for the enjoyment, and I don't think I'm going to be getting my retirement out of it. But I think it's just nice to be able to be in your spare time, pop up to the stables, and it's just something I enjoy.